I woke up this morning, I looked at my project again, I looked at the packet, and I said, I don't know why I didn't like it last night. I actually liked the packet. When I understand what bothers me about this packet on the back of the pants, that's just exactly what I told you. I didn't bring white in the bag. So this white is actually the only white which we're gonna have in the bag, including laces, right? So since I took the packet of the pants for now, I'm gonna stencil a little bit white rose bouquet over here, and I'm also planning to attach this packet little bit off center, if you know, like I'm not gonna put it in exactly same spot as it originally was to create more interest. And I'm gonna also consider adding that white rose lace in the back. So I have a lot of to do. Let's keep going, guys. And I just want to give you, or maybe you already know that, little bit tip. I am painter and also photographer. I am like jack of all trades, call me this way. I think what happened is, I'm showing you multiple different techniques, and some of them I'm doing first time myself. And what I noticed, like I showed you guys the design, and I planned it because I like to visually see everything and know which step by step I'm gonna be doing it. And sometimes seeing it on the screen, it's not the same as you see on the real piece of clothing you are created. So if you are not happy, just leave the project for one day. And I think the very important part for me is to hang the project if it's big and take a step back and look at it from the distance. It brings you different perspective. And if you still don't like your project, I recommend it. Leave it for a few hours or even for the next day and get back to it with a fresh mind. And if you still don't like it, then get your sim ripper and rip it off. But before you actually gonna make this first move and rip something, just leave the project for a few hours. And I think that was a great reminder for me last night, because I set like a mindset that today I want to finish this overalls until such a point. So next day I'm gonna start doing this and this and that. And I was going slower and slower. I was more frustrated. I didn't like anything. I didn't know what I want. I was not happy. And the night was 10 p.m. and I said, okay, let's just leave it. And today I love everything about it. That would be a choices of ribbons for my 3 flowers, which I'm planning to do it. I already did one, and I do not want to do too many because I don't want to overdo it. And some of them I might use just as a pin or as a belt if I will make too many. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have, I'm gonna repurpose them for sure. They're not gonna go to waste. But for the first flower, I did this kind of like a silky ribbon, and I'm gonna link all these ribbons in description below. I found them on Amazon and they come on pack 3 or 4. So for the first one I choose the very sheer one, and kind of like I'm gonna say like a silk kind of one. For this rose, I think I'm gonna do only and only like this hot pink silk just on the bottom little bit, I think. And for this rose, I wanted to go with little bit like a sheer pink just on the bottom because I want to have middles exposed. The reason why I want to have middle exposed because I might want to add either some beads or hand stitching to add some interest to them. So that's my choices for those 3. I'm not sure which they gonna go yet, which one gonna go where, but this specific overalls, they just gonna be shades of pink and some neon. I cut some tulle, like little bit of tulle, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use it at all because I'd like to, maybe in this one because it's the lightest one. I think this tulle gonna be too much for the dark roses. So I might use this three combinations for the light rose, starting from, like you see, same thing as Tracy explained. It's very light over here, so I might add some tulle over here with little bit of this white and little bit of satin of this, leaving a meadow exposed. This one I am definitely going just, or maybe not. I have also that which came in a packet. Maybe for this one I'm gonna do those two. Dark one on the side and middle, little bit of that, and that one I am definitely doing only this beautiful satin. So how I'm going to approach it, how I did the rose, which I showed you in the previous clips, and hopefully I'm not gonna embarrass myself and I'm gonna be able to repeat this. So I try to recreate what Tracy was teaching us in her video. So I have a set of tweezers. What you can do also, which I am actually considering doing with that, I might create a raffle with using my hands, because the way she did it, and she's more skilled probably with this type of things, it was very challenging to me. So how I did it originally, maybe let me set the camera here. Let's see if you can see. I started with the lightest part of the patch, and the tulle which I have comes in this roll, and they are super inexpensive. They are like in gazillion colors, every imaginable color you can think of. So I thought it's gonna be a little bit too much, so I folded it half just like that, and I kind of like did few messy foldings in the beginning, and I'm gonna start right on top of, or maybe I'm gonna start, actually last time it was my mistake, right in the middle when the lightest petal is. And I'm just gonna stitch along the rose design. And next thing I'm going to do, start my stitch so it's gonna hold it for me, and then I'm just keep sliding. I'm not sure if I'm not great with showing on the sewing machine shots. I'm sorry guys, I hope I'm not making you too dizzy. Maybe the other side will be better. Okay, let's see if this side will be better, and I can come in with a sewing machine here. Okay, and I'm just gonna slide with these tweezers. I'm gonna do the very slow movement, because I feel comfortable with that. In case I press the pedal too hard, it's still gonna go too slow. And I'm just gonna keep adding the ruffles as I go. And what I love about the tulle, it's just like you can't go wrong with that, you know, it looks great anyway. And that's how I was doing the first one. And it's all obviously the whole piece I folded half, and I go with the lines of the rose over here, and you can choose whichever direction you want to go. There we go. So I'm gonna bulk it up under, and actually I'm gonna go with this petal over here. And once I'm reaching like very close, I can stack up a little bit more. And at the end, I actually took a scissors and I trimmed it. So I'm gonna show you that later. That's what I did. And I'm sure there are multiple ways doing the same thing. Again, I start to sew like consistently just last year. So I am learning a lot about the techniques, and I'm still sometimes blown away. I see some video and I said, oh my goodness, I didn't know you can do this way or that way. I still learn a lot. And I think I learn every time I need to do something. So then obviously I need the skill to accomplish my vision. And then I Google like, oh, how to do this or how to do that. And I am keep learning as I go. Okay, and at this point I want to stop. And because it's a tulle, I'm just going to cut off the excess of it. And that's how it's going to look like in the beginning. And I can either turn around, if I don't want to cut, I can turn around and go, you know, the other way around and just not waste that tulle. Or I can just cut this tulle if I think I have enough. Okay, so I cut it off. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to fold it. I'm not going to sew in between. I'm just going to fold it over. Just like that. And now I'm gonna do the next layer with the next light piece exactly same way. Apologize the mess on my desk. I'm gonna cover it with my body so you guys not gonna see it. We had very eventful weekend in a good way. I didn't even iron my sweater. I just noticed I have a wrinkle, so I'm gonna also hold my hands like this. I am kind of like unprepared, but the weather is finally nice, so we are very busy outside. And if you know, I grow dahlias and garden, and it's a lot of prep work finally in Sparta because the weather in Sparta is getting better and better. But to the point, and I'm gonna keep holding my hands in here. I had a week off from overalls. That's why I released the other video, because I needed a break from these overalls. They were kind of frustrating. And when I slept on it and when I had a week off of it, I came back today with a fresh mind, and I have great ideas for it. And I think it's going to be a lot of slow stitching. So I spent my weekend knitting and thinking and watching Tracy Mayer's videos because she's always the best inspiration ever. If you guys actually planning to enter my contest, go to Tracy channel and watch her videos. She's the best inspiration ever. So back to the point, because I am a chatterbox, I know that. I looked up for a lot of fun quotes and I found a dude, I don't remember his name, Tom something. I'm gonna show you guys him on the screen next to me. He's the artist and he has a lot of super fun quotes. And so many quotes resonates with me. So I think I'm gonna use my washable marker, a sewing marker. I'm gonna link the marker in description below. And there are two kinds. One of them is that you have to spray a water on it and it's just gonna disappear. And the other one, it stays on your fabric for 24 hours. So I'm gonna use the one which I have to spray a water on it because I don't think I'm gonna slow stitch in 24 hours. I don't think I have this time on my hands and juggling a lot of projects. And I'm shipping patches to you guys because so many of you gonna enter my contest. I am so excited. I didn't get email yet with any finished products yet, but I just announced it, so I'm gonna give you guys a time. So I'm gonna choose the quote which resonates with me, and I'm gonna use my yarn. I mean, that's I don't know what is it. I'm gonna link it also in the description below. I got it on Amazon, and I'm gonna choose the maybe kind of like a neon-y looking thread, because as I told you, I'm gonna kind of aim for magnolia pearl look, and they usually, not usually, sometimes they introduce a lot of neons on one piece of wardrobe, right? So I'm gonna write the quote which resonates with me in the empty areas to kind of like balance everything, because I think that there's a lot of heaviness on the bottom, but the top it's kind of light. And I'm gonna do another quote somewhere on my like lower high on the tie over here. And I'm not gonna attach any roses yet, because I'm gonna probably ask my husband. I told you that this product, this golden paint product, it just sits there. You need like actually manpower to actually distress it. So before I'm gonna attach my roses to it, I'm going to actually ask my husband to kind of like rub it more with a sanding block, because it's still too bright to me. I just wanted to distress it a little bit more, but it's getting really dusty, which is very interesting. I really love it how much it holds it, but you really need the manpower to actually remove it. And when I'm looking at the overalls, I actually thinking about adding more roses here and there, but I mean like painted roses to actually bring the balance and keep them more busy. I also bought this. Some of you probably know what that is. I'm gonna also link it below. It's kind of like a pattern for stitching, and I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use some of them. There's like multiple sheets over here. You can cut them and put them on the fabric and just kind of stitch on it to create more and more and more texture. So actually this part of the project going to be a lot of slow stitching, listening to the book. And I'm gonna probably do it outside because the weather is super nice right now. And then I'm gonna attach everything, because I think a lot of these things which I want to do as far as the slow stitching goes, a lot of these things gonna be under the flowers, not over the flowers. So I don't wanna make it more complicated for myself. And actually I'm gonna sew the flowers on and close the pants as soon as everything is done. And actually that's going to be the longest part of my project. So I don't know how it's gonna look like as far as the schedule goes. If I'm not going to be able to finish this slow stitching in 1 week. All right, ladies, so now we have two options. One of them, it's kind of on like this adhesive paper, which I can cut it out, stitch it wherever I want to make this design, and then I'm gonna dissolve it in wash. The other one, it's kind of like how you call it, like a stencil. Sorry, I have my gloves on because I was actually I was trying to sand it even more, and instead of sanding more, I was actually distressing pants even more. So I'm just gonna leave it as is. So the other package which comes out, it's more like a stencils. You basically place it wherever you want, you just draw it, trace it, and then you're doing stitching. So I'm gonna see which one I'm gonna do. Maybe not this one. Maybe I'm gonna try actually the ones which I can actually just use my water erasing pencil and just draw the design and then stitch it. It's a lot of different designs in it, so you have a lot of options for it. So I think one of those I'm gonna use on this batch, and I'm gonna bring some pink and green over here, and then I'm gonna write my quote over here and do it here, and I'm gonna do some nice embroidery here and on the belt, and I'm gonna also change the buttons. A lot of going on, and not enough time. This is design which I decided to do, and unfortunately pencil which I had, or pen which I had, is not visible on it, so I had to do with a marker, and I decided to go with a yellow for this part, and I think I'm gonna do yellow quote, and I'm gonna start to introduce yellow to the whole design. Seamstress Coco is back. I'm working on the pants. Hi, Coco. Hi, Coco. No, not in the mood for talking. She's mad. Oh my god, guys, I love this chicken. So sweet. And overall, so I'm finally ready. I'm gonna film it outside so you can actually have a good light and you can see it good. I'm wearing my yard clothes today because today is a gardening day and it was pretty emotional day. Today we released our Daisy duck to freedom, and yeah, it's pretty outdoorsy day, so I thought I'm gonna talk for a few minutes about the overalls. Let me show you how they came out. And generally, it's also gonna see it on the both sides of the screen. But let's talk about a few minutes what I decided to do. Number one, I actually end up not really liking that much of this neon green. So I try to cover the green in multiple places. It's picking up here and there, but it's not as much as originally was. I think I like to change my mind a lot during the project, so I end up just covering that and just let it peek through. I did 2 quotes, one in front, and I used the chain stitch. And the other one is in the back. I will show you that on the side of the screen. And I really love to introduce yellow to whatever else we had going on here. I really like this crochet stitch, which I did originally on the bag, if you remember, on the carpet bag. So I end up doing crochet stitches on both sides of the pockets, and obviously we stole from Anthropology the lacing around the front pocket and lacings on both sides of the pants. That was the part which actually I used as an inspiration, or I just basically took their idea. I really liked it and added to my pants, but instead of going all the way up, I started the same length on both sides, just from below the pocket, because I didn't want to open the pocket all the way up. I also added some detail stitchings like right over here, and I removed all buttons on both sides and just added vintage buttons, which I got on Etsy or eBay, and of course Teddy has to start to bark at the same time. I left alone Frida stamp. I plan to actually do some embroidery on her, but when I started, I thought like the whole point was to have some black and white image. He's barking at chickens. So I left Frida alone to keep that aspect of some of Magnolia Pear clothing. And I opened the pants like right over here and created a tiny window. I added a patch in there, and basically from the front, yeah, I just played with my patches and do some fun stuff. Because I introduced the yellow, I added yellow butterflies to it, so everything gonna fly nicely together. I also added this lace butterfly over here, so it's gonna cover a little bit of the roses, and it's gonna go nicely with the trimming which I added around this front pocket. And yeah, let's look in the back. So in the back, I told you about the sun, which was also bleeding, so I decided to actually do embroidery about it, and I did some few pieces of French knot over here. I added one of the patches which I have with Dolce Vita kind of sign. You saw me redoing this pocket multiple times, so I moved it to the side a little bit. And originally I had, I don't know if you see, I did it on the sewing machine, these tiny roses, but then I decided that I don't want them, I want something more pronounced. So I framed one of my patches and I sewed that on my pocket. I also stitched the rose under the packet. Before I attach the packet, I did the rose over here on top of the painting, which stenciling, which I had over here, and I do some embroidery over here. And as I said, I did one more quote over here, which is pretty fun. You decide, which is smiley face both ways. And I also added a butterfly over here on top of the stenciling over here, and I stenciled a little bit more on the fern. I stenciled the fern, and I actually did some embroidery. I don't know if it's visible over here on top of that for the texture. And I did the same thing with a rose. I did some yellow embroidery since I decided to introduce yellow, so in order to flow on both sides, I did some yellow embroidery over here on top of that neon, and I added yellow butterfly over here and yellow quotes, so everything gonna be very cohesive. So now a few tips which I just want to, I'm gonna stand in shade because the sun is pretty blasting. A few tips which I want to tell you and share with you when I was working. Oh my goodness, my iPad is not working today before we actually gonna let you go. Number one, using this stencils, which I told you they're gonna bleed, right? I'm gonna show you on Frida. I learned a very hard lesson, and I think I was super lucky to not bleed more than it already did. So my tip about it, if you want to use it, use as minimum ink as possible. So before you're gonna stamp on the pens, I'm gonna recommend stamping like 1 or 2 times on a side on the paper. So you're just gonna remove excess of the ink, and you're not gonna have that much ink over here. Heat set at least for 60 seconds or longer before you're gonna actually put it in wash if you want to try this technique. So that would be my number one. And also, like, be prepared, it might still bleed. As you see, I didn't try painting over it. I said, okay, I'm gonna just leave it as it is because I really love these overalls and I didn't want to ruin them to the point that I'm gonna have to like either throw them away or just cut out half of the leg. So that's number one, which I'm gonna say. And I don't think I want to link this person in a description below because I spent so much time watching their videos and doing what they say, and it actually didn't work, and I had to come up with my own ideas. So I can show you stencils which I used them from this person, but again, I'm gonna find something very similar to what I used and show you. And I show you the stencil pads which I use and the ink which I used. And again, don't kill me if it's not gonna work, because that would be also for me one-time situation. I just learned that less ink will be better. Heat setting with the iron for the very long time through the paper, because you will ruin your iron. So you either have like some kind of iron, which it could be dedicated to this type of crafts, or just use the paper. And once you're gonna put the paper on it and you're gonna heat set it, try not to move the paper, because that's gonna smudge. That's also another thing which I learned. So that's number one thing. About the painting which I learned, I'm gonna link this golden product in description below, and oh god, I loved it. It's just the paint just sits, it just holds the paint like crazy. But if you're gonna try to distress it later, like I tried it, I just rubbed it and it's not coming off like even a bit. It's like literally once you heat set it and it wash it and you dry it, it sits there like a concrete. There's no way it's gonna go anywhere. I tried to the point that I actually made a hole over here because I was trying to distress it a little bit more like Tracy did with her project. But if you're gonna use this gold mix into it, forget about it. You're gonna actually ruin your fabric first before this color gonna go anywhere. So that's what I learned. And also, if you're gonna use stencils like I did, the other thing which I want to tell you is don't put too much paint on it, because in order to use this golden product, you need to heat set it immediately. So what happened is, if you're gonna put a lot of paint, I think I showed you that somewhere on the videos, it's just gonna, with a heat, if it's a lot of paint, it's just gonna kind of like melt and you're gonna lose the design. So less paint if you're gonna try that. As far as the templates go, I showed you in the beginning that I used 2 templates. One which you iron on and then you stitch on it and then you wash it and they dissolve. And the other ones, which you actually have to trace it first on the fabric. And personally, they both amazing, so I'm gonna link both of them in description below. But I think that economic way, financial way, the stencils kind, it's way better, because that ones which you're just gonna iron on and use it, and then they're gonna dissolve, you're just gonna use it one time and you have to keep buying them. The stencils which I used, I reused them multiple times, because I did the same kind of pattern here and I did the same pattern in front. So it's more work, because you have to literally go through the stencil and stencil it first on your pants before you're gonna actually do the crochet. But you can keep reusing them and keep reusing them, you know what I'm saying? They're not just one time use. The other ones are amazing if you don't feel like drawing and reusing, like painting first and going through this all tiny holes and kind of like a stencil them, but they are one time use, so you're gonna have to keep buying and buying and buying them, which costs money. And I don't think they actually that cheap. I mean, that cheap, depends what you think is expensive, what you think is inexpensive. So that's the aspect of that. If you have money, you can keep buying these ones. If you just want to use the same stencils over and over again, then probably the ones which I used make more sense to you. I use them both and they're both great. So I think overall, oh, one more thing which I want to say. So when I made the overalls, I took a picture of them and I was like, I don't know what I don't like about it. I'm not sure what bothers me. So I slept on it one night, I slept on it the second night. And then I said, you know what, let me text Tracy Mayers and show her and tell her how I feel about it. So I sent her a text and say like, hey, can you give me like a consultation on this project, because I'm not sure what I like about this pants. And I think what I didn't like about the overalls was that everything looked so brand new. Everything didn't look cohesive. It looks like I have used jeans and like brand new everything on it, and it didn't flow together. And she was like, I really love them, you should leave it alone. And I was thinking like, okay, maybe I'm gonna dye it in something, you know what I'm saying? Like she does, like she puts it in the dye and everything comes out so cute. But I said, I had previously pretty bad experience with doing that, and I don't know what kind of dye I would use on them. So I came up with this idea. I don't have that many brand new jeans, but I have the jeans which still, when you rub your hands over them, they kind of like still bleed blue, right? So I thought, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pick up a few of those dark jeans which actually still bleed the dye and bleed my skin or my clothes, and I'm gonna wash them with those. And it worked like a magic, because white is kind of still white, but everything looks more cohesive. It looks like right now everything came as a one piece. And I was very scared, because this project didn't go as I planned to from the very beginning. It was a lot of struggles and I had to spend, it's been 3 weeks since I started to work on them. So I said, that's gonna be the safest way. And I throw those overalls with 3 pairs of very dark jeans I had, which they were still bleeding some dye, and it worked like a charm. But if you are more confident that I am to use a fabric dye, go for it. I'm sure you're gonna have great results. I was just scared because I really loved how it came out, but I was scared to put it in any kind of dye that I'm gonna like absolutely ruin 3 weeks of my work of crochet and stitching and doing the pockets this way. It was time and going through all this fixing situation with here. I'm gonna probably keep stitching more and more on it, but it's just like work in progress. So that's the point which I am happy with it and I can wear it, but I think I'm gonna still keep adding crochet and stitching and making it even more and more busy, like you see on the Magnolia pair of overalls. But that's like a month of work and I want to enjoy it. And I think right now I was very in a rush to release the second part of the video, so I just left it in the point which I think I'm gonna still wear it and I'm gonna be still happy, but I can keep adding to it. And I think just replacing the buttons itself, it's a great idea. I might take a sandpaper and like distress it a little bit more here and there and then do like stitching. But as for now, I am happy as they are, and I think for the not confident person to wash them with the bleeding jeans was a great idea, because I got what I wanted out of it without taking a huge risk losing all the job. I hope this video helped you. I hope I inspired you. Oh, and of course you can see that this is 3D patch, which I learned how to do it from Tracy Mayers, and I had to use it right in front. So let me get some outfit going and I'm gonna show you how they look on a human, not on the hanger. And thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for spending Sunday with me and all your support. And I will see you next week with fairly easy and very fast DIY, no sewing required if you don't want to. And I'm just gonna take a chill pill, and next project I'm gonna do super easy, because right after that I have very amazing project coming out, and it's also gonna be very distressed magnolia pearl inspired super fun project. And I found a vendor which gonna provide you with the most magical fabric you can ever imagine. I'm just waiting for the shipment to come in, and we're just gonna actually do something super fun and super involving. But for the next week, let's take a chill pill and let's do something super fun designer dope. And the sun came out, and I'm gonna go and change and show you how they look.